BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Welcome to Great Elm Park Village, the retirement village here in the Warwickshire on the outskirts of Stratford-upon-Avon. And we're really pleased to welcome you here, and we're ready for a walk.
Well done, Stephen. You've done all my job for me, because now I don't have to give location. I will give grid reference, though, and I will explain more about the retirement village. That was the voice of Stephen Walsh. And we've come to walk with a group of people who are relatively new residents, because this is a very new village, and in fact quite a futuristic concept. If you can hear building construction work going on in the background, it's because it is. How far are we going to go and where are we going to go?
It'll be about 3 miles, and we're going to set out, first of all, walking south. We're going to go pretty close to the church here in Great Elm Village, and then we're going to go up into the hillside. There's beautiful rolling countryside around here, so very open air, crossing a stream or two. We're going to do a couple of styles. Great view that you can look back down on the village from on top. And then we'll be coming back down past the Skelton's property, as it happens.
Oh, right.
Yes,
down Skelton.
We'll be bordering.
That's where we are, is it?
Yes,
right near...
we are. It's just up at the top of the hill over there. And then, depending on time, we may take a walk in the woods. It'll be different to that, and show you the allotments. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay.
When you say the Skeltons, Nick Skelton won a gold medal at the London Olympics in show jumping, and indeed in Rio as an individual.
Yes.
And his son is a very successful racehorse trainer, and his other son is a jockey.
That's right.
And all the residents, we took them all up there for a little visit, didn't we? Do you remember?
You did indeed, yes.
It was lovely day up there.
Stephen, just before we set off, that was Tanya. She's the fitness instructor, and I've popped inside. I've seen the gym, I've seen the pool. There are all sorts of people in the gym.
Indeed, yeah, yes. But you mentioned the futuristic concept of the retirement village, and Tanya is an important part of that concept. So we have here Tanya.
Hello.
Yeah. We have Karen.
Hi there. Hi.
We have
David.
David. Yes.
A very newbie.
Dennis.
Celia and Pat.
And Lawrence. Lawrence. Yeah. Say hello, Lawrence.
Hi, I'm Lawrence.
So we've got a group of 8 or 9 of us. Would you normally have more, Stephen? Is your walking group ever any bigger than this?
Well, the secret walking group is about 5 or 6. But because it's secret, they're not with us today.
I'll tell you what, now I'm intrigued about
Maybe more about that later.
Yeah, I'm intrigued about the secret walking group. Right.
So we're going to walk out of the village by what's currently the main entrance.
And it's mock Tudor, some of the design,
yes,
obviously.
That's right.
Mock Tudor and brick below, all, as you say, very newly built. Yes. How many residents are there here at the moment, and how many will it have capacity for?
The total number of houses planned is about 170. When I say houses and apartments. So if you like properties, about 170 properties. So there could be, depending on how many couples, there could be 250 people living here. At the moment, there's 130. The majority of those are couples, and it's split between apartments and houses. You can imagine some people come here and they decide, as we grow older, we want to get rid of stairs, whereas other people like the idea of staying in a property.
And you get a sense of what is here from the signposts. So medical centre is signposted that way.
That's right. Yep.
But behind us we have the fitness centre.
Yep.
Lots of individual properties, but all based around the concept, I guess, of being able to walk from one to another, creating that community.
It's the intention to have a shop on the village at some point. We haven't got that just yet.
See.
Yeah.
Many people will have read Richard Osman's best-selling novel, The Thursday Murder Club. We'll talk about that, but it's that sort of a concept. We've paused, Stephen, because you wanted to point it out.
This plaque here, this tree was planted, as it says on the plaque. It's to commemorate the Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Victoria, 1887.
Wow. And surrounded by snowdrops. It's an overcast day, quite mild, and not raining, which is a relief. The pale sun trying to break through the clouds overhead, and still relatively bare in terms of leaves on the trees. We're going to turn right, go up this footpath and along the backs of the houses that have been here, obviously making up the village where the park is based. So you can, you haven't got that feeling of being trapped in. You can walk out the front gates anytime you like.
Absolutely. I mean, it is independent living, supported independence. I hope to stay as fit as long as I can, but there'll be a point when I can't make my own bed anymore. Yeah, but there'll be somebody who can come and help. So I can stay at home stay independent.
Now, Pat is Stephen's other half. He's loving it, absolutely loving it. You can tell the enthusiasm he has for the whole concept of supported independent living. What about you?
I didn't like the idea of it at all at the beginning, and I kind of resisted it, but it's taken me a little while, and COVID kind of put us together because I'd never actually spent more than a fortnight with Stephen before COVID came on. We used to holiday together, and he was still at work, so I'd be at home, he'd be at work, and then we were forced together in COVID, and it kind of gave me time to adapt to the village, make friends, use the facilities, and I'm going to move in permanently very shortly. So,
Oh, right.
so yes,
Well, you've got a very modern relationship
we
then.
do. We do. We've been together for 22 years, so I'm not rushing into anything. You know what it is? It's kind of a final thing. You're leaving all your independence, you're leaving your family. My family all live in Sutton Coldfield, so me coming here and not being part of the family. I've got 3 sons, we do a lot of parties, and grandchildren, so for me, coming here was like a huge step. But
It's that admission as well, I think. It's that admission that you've reached that age. Do you know what I mean?
is,
And you
it
think,
is.
oh God, when I admit it, I'll be it.
that's it. And it's not for everybody, I have to say. We've had 1 or 2 people who have left. You know, they've come, they've tried it, they didn't like it, so they've left.
What was it that they didn't like?
When Stephen first moved here, there were only about 25 people in the village, and it wasn't cohesive at all because the first houses that were built, which is where we live on the edge of it, Larch Court, was a group of people who were friendly and got to know each other. They had no choice really, and just didn't fit in with the rest of the people here.
Oh, so it was
Weren't
a bit
happy.
cliquey.
It's a bit cliquey,
Yeah.
yes. So now that the village has grown and we've got so many people here, and as you can see, they're all lovely, they're all friendly. So for 1 or 2 people, they left.
Yeah. But also, I always think the more people, actually the easier to escape. You don't get stuck, whereas if it's small and a small group, it's quite difficult to
It's
say, I'd
impossible.
rather walk, I'd
Yes.
rather not walk with you.
That's right. So it's improving all the time.
And did you read the Thursday Murder Club?
I did.
What did you think?
I liked it. I thought it's just like living here.
Well, I think that's Richard Osman based it on his mother's
I think so.
similar setup, you know.
Yes.
And I love the fact that it really celebrates active minds.
Yeah, and so many people here join in a lot of things. There are 1 or 2 people who don't engage with anybody, but that's their choice, and you can do that. And if you've got a lot of outside activities in the village or with family, you don't have to be here. But for most of us, we have regular things that we go to. We see the same people. We have dinner together sometimes. It's very nice. I'm settling in very well. I'm looking forward to moving.
Stephen obviously loves organising things.
Oh,
and,
God, he does, yes. It's definitely his thing.
and the walking group is key. And he talks about the secret walking group.
yeah.
Do you know about the
Of
secret?
course I do. Everybody does. It's just funny. It started out with him, just a couple of the other older residents, just the men. It's not that women aren't invited, but the men go and put the world to rights. So they chat about anything and everything, and they take a little tot of whiskey with them. So they call it the whiskey walk. And it's anybody who wants to go and join it. They walk into the wood, sit on the bench and drink whiskey, and then stagger home. So, yeah.
And a lovely wide path now with just a bit of protection on either side. So even if it were cold and windy today, I think we'd feel fine, and it's relatively stable underfoot, but tiny bit slippery in places. And Tanya up ahead of me.
She encouraged me to do some ballet classes during COVID. I used to teach ballet years ago, and I did a few just exercise classes basically, and I'm thinking now I might do a tap dancing class.
Oh wow!
So might give it a go.
You're listening to Ramblings on BBC Radio 4 and BBC Sounds, and I am walking in Warwickshire with the residents of a retirement village in Great Olne, which is not far from Stratford, not a million miles from Cheltenham. And we're out in the countryside, so a circular route of 3 miles. And I'm going to skip ahead and talk to other members of the group. Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome, thank you.
So the one person in the group who's wearing leggings and trainers, ready to break into Zumba if we need to, is Tanya. How long have you worked here?
In October, it will be 3 years. It's been the best thing I've ever done is to get this job, because I come from the leisure industry, working in sports centres and things, but I find it so rewarding working with the older population, and to have the freedom to do activities like paddleboarding. I've taken residents, kayaking.
Wow. Is there a lake then?
We went to Stratford.
Uh-huh.
And then, but at the other end of the spectrum, I'm there to support residents who have frames, have wheelchairs. So I do assisted walking programmes. And when I'm at work, I put myself in their shoes, what I would want to do at that age. And I do treat the residents like they're my own family. And I always think of my mum. I've still got my mum alive, but my mum's really stubborn. She won't do anything I want her to do. But I'm kind of bossy, and I kind of say, we're doing this. And when the residents say, oh, but, I'm 75 or I'm 82, and I keep saying, look, it's not about your age, it's what you can do now. Forget your age. What can you do? Whatever you can do, whether it's a seated exercise class or me going to them and giving them some hand weights and they're in the chair, let's do that. So from the first day of working at the village, my goal was to find out is what residents are good at, what they used to do before they retired, and did they want to continue it. And so, for example, I love art, absolutely love art, and there's a few residents that still want to do that, so I started an art group. And then the upshot of it is this little group of residents who came to this art group are now going out of the village into the community to do art. So I'm kind of the person that starts it off, and then I take 10 steps back.
We've paused because we just need to walk over this wooden bridge, little stream down to our left, and a wonderful tree ahead of us, which is clad in the branches of a creeper, and it therefore looks like it's being held by another living source. It's amazing how quick you can get out into the countryside here, and we've got rolling green hills all around us, a bit of a bowl behind, and no sense at all, although this is a very well connected area with motorways not that far away. You can't hear any of it. It's so peaceful.
Now we're going to go through this gate and turn right, and it'll be a bit breathless going up the hill.
Okay.
This is the steep bit, but it takes us to some grand views.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Look forward to it. So with the warning that there's a steep climb to come, I'm David. I thought I'd just grab a word with you, because I understand you're very new to the village.
Relatively new, yes, some 6 months. We've settled in very well. We still have links back to our previous area, but more and more we're beginning to sort of feel much more at home here.
So your initial fears were what?
Would everything fit in the apartment?
Oh, right.
That was my wife's primary concern, but it actually fitted in extremely well.
So
we
you've
got
gone
that
for an apartment?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And on the ground floor or?
In the middle floor.
I'm watching Stephen there, who's running now to the front of the group. He's got his backpack on, and he's running like he's on some sort of CCF course.
I think that's the influence of Tanya. She gets us all moving.
Financially, without going into specific details, how does it work? Do you have to buy or can you rent?
You can do either. I think most people do buy, but we're aware of other people that have come in maybe for 6 months or 12 months, and they do it on the rental basis.
Come through another kissing gate and into the field. This is the big climb. Tanya's just come running by, grabbed David by the arm and said, "Come on, David, you make it walk faster." There's terrific energy. Now, Lawrence, you're here not as a resident, but in an official capacity. What's your role?
I'm I'm the People and Culture Director at Inspired Villages.
Right. So, Lawrence, the thorny question of cost.
Yes.
How much does it cost? I realise, obviously, a sliding scale as to what you buy or rent.
Yes. It depends, really. You can buy a one-bedroom apartment, a two-bedroom, or cottage that you've seen in Great Orme, and they can range from sort of 250, 300 to a penthouse, which could be nearly £1 million.
And on top of that, are you then paying a service charge?
You pay a service charge, yeah.
And the service charge at the moment is?
It can be £7,000, £8,000 a year.
A year. You've got a position which I guess is a little bit like being head teacher of the school, but different age group. What happens if you've got a resident who actually needs to be expelled?
We've not expelled anyone, so we've not done the head teacher bit. If there's a genuine problem, well, our philosophy is to work through the solution. If at the end of the day someone decides to move on, then that's fine, but we will do everything in our power to make sure that their stay, whichever village they're in, is as we promised.
Uh-huh. If something arose, let's say somebody was being overtly racist or homophobic or just aggressive, yeah. What are the steps that you take?
Again, we've not experienced that because people generally move in they live by certain values.
Do they sign up to a sort of code of conduct?
In essence, they do. And Stephen confirmed that.
Yeah, we call it a village charter,
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which everyone receives as part of their welcome pack and their induction.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a leasehold property, so there are also rules about maintaining the look of the place, the aesthetic, in terms of what you have on your patio and the colour of the awnings even that you have. So it helps for us to live as a community. You got to have some sort of rules, but they're quite light, because the whole point again of us living here is that we can live our lives as we would have otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it like this. Wherever you get people, people are people, and have been forever. And when you come together, but I see it as being like the weather, really. It may be raining today, but tomorrow the sun will shine. So when we set out on the walk, I promised you that it would be a varied walk, and we've done a little breathless climb, not too bad, and here we are now, and you can see the beauty of the Stratford area of Warwickshire and how our lovely village is nestled right in the middle of countryside.
And also I'm imagining how this will be in the spring and the summer.
Oh yes.
When all of these trees are, heavy with leaves, and when everything looks fresh and bright.
And there's something rather strange about this place too, that everyone's known that every resident must have 100 pictures of sunsets. Now, I don't know, I only moved 30 miles, it was the same sun there as here, but here the sky is so big, the sunsets are magnificent.
And does your secret walking group ever come out at night to quote-unquote stargaze with your tot of whiskey, which isn't so secret, by the way?
Well, no, the health and safety issues there. Yeah. No, normally it's normally about 5 o'clock. We look at the sky in the morning, sniff it and say, OK, and each of us have a little flask, and we put our own favourite whiskey in, and then when we get there, out come the glasses, share, have a little nip of each. It's mostly about walking and talking. Yeah. The ladies have a knit and natter group while we have a whiskey walk. and you put the world to rights, and generally we just talk about our families, the jobs that we used to have. The most unusual place we've ever eaten. That's actually quite a good question. You get quite a lot of stories come out. Mm-hmm. So what's the strangest meal you've ever had? And that's the kind of thing that we discuss. Okay? So I don't think we get anywhere near drunk.
We pause to take in the view, coming back down the hill now towards the village. And Karen, you're one of the ones I haven't managed to talk to yet. When did you move in here?
Well, we moved in very early, Clare, where it was still round us, still being built, our end. 3 years ago, all our friends said we were a bit crazy, but I'd had this plan since I was young. I wanted to live in a stately home, one of those with all the parkland round it. Dennis saw this. We only live 5 miles up there, Ullenhall, and he said, you can do everything you want to do here, and he wants to go on holidays, and I want to see the children more, live in London, and it just fitted everything. It was what I imagined. 88 acres round us. Oh,
See,
Parkland.
I always think I want to do that with my schoolmates and my university friends who've all known each other for a long time, but all live in this big house and get. But it's very similar to this, except it
Yes.
would be not with anyone we didn't know. But I guess now you do know them.
That's right. Well, you soon know them because you meet in groups.
Yes.
You know, you go to the swimming on a certain day, you meet somebody. And honestly, I couldn't tell you the names of everybody, but, you know, the line dancing, I really enjoy that. I enjoy the line dancing. That's a thing I never thought I'd
You never
say.
thought you'd say it.
I know, and it's such fun. Oh, honestly.
Right, be careful down these steps, obviously, everybody. I would imagine that if you've read Thursday Motor Club, have you? Yes. Does it ring a lot of bells?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. The Murder Club is us. I love the way they have it in the jigsaw room. Well, I use the games room as my jigsaw room in the winter because there's lovely big tables and they don't mind if you leave a jigsaw out. And so straight away I thought of that. And of course, isn't it the conversational French that always interrupts their meetings or something like that? They're always knocking on the door. I think it might have been Spanish. But, oh no, Richard Osman has got us to a T in the nicest possible way.
Dennis, I was talking to Karen about the things you both wanted out of life after retirement. And you like your adventures.
My adventures? Well, before I got married, I used to enjoy going around the cricket to Australia 6 times.
Are you Barmy Army, are you?
Not quite Barmy Army, but I've been to South Africa and the West Indies watching the cricket. But unfortunately, since getting married, I haven't been able to go.
Dennis, how dare you put it that way? How dare a sentence start with unfortunately since getting married?
I'm still allowed to have my season ticket up at the Arsenal anyway.
I'm still allowed to. Have you got cricket fans around you here?
Not really. I think a lot of the residents here are more on the rugby side of things, really. I remember at Edgbaston, so I go to Warwickshire mainly, to be honest, for the T20s, the one-day matches.
Yeah.
And of course, you get preferential for the test matches.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Who's got a step counter on them? You all have. So how far have we been? And
8,347.
8,347?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Very
So,
well led, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and it's been terrific having you here.
Well, honestly, so lovely to meet you all. I'm sorry that I won't be here for step aerobics this afternoon with Tanya, because I think that sounds great. Great in a slightly punishing way. And have a wonderful summer, which I know you will, and continued enjoyment of the autumn of life.
We haven't got to winter yet, Clare.
We certainly haven't got to winter. No, I realise that. And as far as Stephen's concerned, he's going backwards. He said he's 5 years younger than when he first came here. He's doing a Benjamin Button.
Yeah, that's right.